Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another session of Free to Heal, where we come together every week and we endeavor to heal the ravages of incarceration. We are formerly incarcerated, loved ones, children, people who were incarcerated, and we come together every week to discuss things that will help us. And tonight's topic is actually coming from Formula for Success, Reentry 030, written by Terrell Tillman, but the twist is it's going to be in combination with a session that I created a while ago for the Francisco homes when we talk about what we're responsible for in relationships. So with that being said, I'm going to start reading a little bit from Formula for Success. Life is full of responsibilities, so accept them. Be accountable. Take responsibility for your own actions, and your life will be better off. Terrell E. Tillman. That's the man right there in the block. Y'all see him? Y'all see him? Yeah, wave, Terrell. That's him. Wave. Say hey. Okay. So.
How y'all doing?
Now, in life, there are many responsibilities one must accept and take in stride. What to do, what not to do, where to go, where not to go. If I do this, this might be the outcome. If I do this, this might happen. Whatever the result or outcomes may be, we have to live on and learn from them. Okay? You can say that again. He wrote that like that too. You could say that again. With an exclamation point. You could say that again. Hi, James.
Hey, what's going on?
So tonight we're discussing responsibility, and we're going to do it from two perspectives. One is from the perspective of a person re-entering society, and the other one is from the perspective of what you're responsible for in relationships. Okay?
Uh-oh.
So you caught uh-oh, hey, uh-oh. He said, uh-oh, y'all, watch out. Watch out, y'all. We're going to have to watch out. The big fella said, uh-oh. Okay.
Uh-oh.
So
that means y'all have to put your big boy boxes on.
Yeah, pull them up tight. Pull them up, hold on to them. Pull them up, hold on to them.
Get your garter belt for your silk socks.
The garter.
Stick a fork in me, I'm done.
Ooh, nope, they already stuck to me. It's too late, dogs. I'm finished. I'm finished with him for the night. That's it. Okay, now, hey, James, you want timeout for at least the next 3 or 4 minutes, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, you on timeout because we that was too much for us. The garter with the silk socks. Okay, thank you. Being an ex-convict and returning back to society, there is an enormous amount of pressure and responsibilities that await you. That is a fact. I don't care who you are. I don't care what small amount of time you have been incarcerated, whether it's been a long time. When you come home, there's an enormous amount of pressure and responsibility. In particular, because we do this for not just formerly incarcerated and whatever, but we also do it for the children of formerly incarcerated people. And a lot of times they don't understand, they have needs. And they need to catch up with the parents. They have a lot of times wounds and things that happened to them while their parents were away. And the parents have to take responsibility for that. The kids are like, okay, you here? Let's get busy, right? Unless, because it can go in either direction, unless they don't even want to talk about it, which is even harder sometimes on the parent. But one thing you always say, Mr. Tillman, when we talk about that with regard to children, is that you need to listen. Parents need to listen. And I would say if I offered any parents coming home from incarceration a piece of advice, it would be listen to your kids. Listen to what they have to say. Don't try to defend yourself. Don't just listen. Let them get it out. But one thing the kids don't know is all of the other responsibilities that face their parents when they come home. For example, you got to go see the PO. You got to get a job. You got to have a place to stay. You got to get employment. All of those things are responsibilities that a person coming home from incarceration that has children has to face. And so children often, by nature of being a child, don't understand the different layers of responsibility and pressure that is put on a person, because we haven't even talked about the responsibility of trying to be responsive to the parole officer or to the conditions of parole, because those are extremely heavy. And a lot of times parole officers are not, they're not in favor. A lot of them just are there.
User friendly.
Huh?
I'm about to say
They're
not friendly.
they're not user friendly.
Thank you. Perfect way to say that. At all, not user friendly at all. So with that being said, they can add responsibilities where there are none, okay, or where there don't have to be. I think it's even better to say they add pressure where there's no need to be pressure. Like they created a lot of times because of the things that they do and say. Like things I remember. In fact, I have to try to see what you guys remember. A wild guy, Ram, used to come on all the time, but Ram used to talk about how he wanted to go out of state to handle his family's financial affairs. And for a very, very, very long time, the PO would not permit him to go out of state, even for a weekend.
Yeah.
To handle his financial affairs, to get himself financially situated, because he had an inheritance somewhere. And if you think about that, if you want somebody to successfully re-enter and not recidivate, why would you not allow them, of all the things they let people go out of town for?
Because it's not them. It's you got to think about it like this too. A lot of parole officers, they don't care. It's not them. It's not their benefit. It's not for the betterment of them. And a lot of them is scared that these people are going to get in these states that they don't know the backyard. So these guys can hide from the parole officer, which nobody's going to do that. We're trying to make it successful without parole. But you have the parole officers, a lot of them lazy. A lot of them don't want to do the paperwork. And like you said, they put these astronomical expectations on a parolee at the time when a parolee is released from prison to be unsuccessful. A lot of them, mine's told me, he said, I got a bet on you and I'm counting down the days when you go back.
Wow.
That was
this
just
was somebody who didn't even know you.
No, don't even know me. That never spoke 10 minutes. The man came out. What's your name? Come here. Let me take some pictures of your tattoo, this bathroom. Snap, snap, snap. Okay. Sign this, sign there. Okay. See you in 2 weeks. I'll be at the house. That's all he did.
And the interesting thing is he becomes a responsibility of yours. That's the cold part, right?
Yeah.
He becomes something you're responsible to keep satisfied. That's another layer of something else you got to deal with. And it's a person who betting on you to go back, and he just meeting you. He just decided, just looking at you on a piece of paper, that you're going to go back.
That's all he had was a piece of paper. He don't have nothing else.
And I remember you saying you were telling him that guy with I think it was with Shanshan, right?
Dion.
Like you don't know him.
You
like,
don't know.
Yeah, all you know is this piece of paper, what you see on the piece of paper, but you don't really know anything else.
Yeah, it's true. And it's bad because if you're my parole officer and you're supposed to help me successfully get off parole and get up out your pocket, out the system, why are you trying to keep me in the system that had me so captivated? Well, not captivated, had me, I ain't say kidnapped because I committed the crime and I do the time, but the thing
in constraints, it had you tied up. And that's what I didn't understand with the guy, is that if you want him out of your pockets, if you want him to be successful, why not give him those things that would give him the opportunity, let him access the things that would have allowed him to be successful. One of the things, so listen to this, Ms. Dye. Is the reentry person still in denial about their position in life or how they ended up in prison, right? But think about that in the context of the conversation you and I had earlier, and then listen to the next one. Are they still blaming someone else or pointing the finger at other people for their incarceration? So this is where the two mix, right? So in relationships, people will often hold somebody accountable for something in a relationship that they're not responsible for.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of times we call it baggage. And I had a situation where a person was, I just confronted them straight up, like, what's the deal? And instead of them actually answering the question, they said, well, we could talk about that, but I have to get back to you. So, but the thing of it is because I was asking for in the minute accountability. Let's talk about what's going on. Why? So that I could take responsibility for whatever I'm responsible for, but they could take responsibility for what they're responsible for. I'm gonna mute you, James, because you're going in the store.
Okay.
So in relationships, very often people want somebody to be responsible for their past, their present, their future. They want somebody to be responsible for something that I learned nobody's responsible for but me, and that's protecting their heart. My heart, my job. I'm not responsible for how you feel about who I am, because I am who I am. But I'm not responsible for how that makes you feel. I've had people say, well, in fact, I had talked to my cousin, and she was saying a lady told her, well, you make me feel less than. How can she make you feel less than? That's because you already felt less than. And when you're around her and she's happy and content and she appears in your mind to be successful or whatever, that makes it stand out for you that you're not where you want to be. But the issue is that that's not her fault. She's not responsible for how you feel. And people very often want to make others responsible for how they feel. Tony, you shaking your head. Something is coming up to you. Unmute, baby.
Yes, ma'am. Being a type A personality woman, you get that quite often, and you find yourself with a very low number of female friends because, I was, even at work, I was talking to someone and she says, just by the way that you look, it's hard to approach you. And I said, no, actually it's not. That I'm not going to own your feelings. If you have to do business with me,
what difference does it make like what you look like?
Then you need to be able to approach me and ask the questions that you need to ask and, move on. I said, it's you who have to learn how to get past my face. Mm-hmm. I don't have to learn how to get past you. And if I need you, or if I need something from you, I'm coming to you to get whatever it is I need. But you're concentrating on something that's superficial. You're concentrating on the fact that I don't smile or I got a frown. I'm in heavy thought. I'm always in heavy thought, and I'm not concerned about what you think about my face, because if you're going to let my face detract you from being able to do your business, maybe we need to rethink the position that you've been given.
Yeah.
And and I just had this conversation with someone last week, but it was the conversation that I began to have 20, 25 years ago with my peers in HR, and they were all white. But this was a black woman I was just having this conversation with on Friday. It's not just by color. It's by the fact that people are insecure. And when they find, sometimes someone that's secure or someone that can, stand with anybody. I can stand with anybody. I don't care how many degrees you have or what have you. I have my own set of intelligence about me, and I'm able to move and do that. And that's what reflects. But me being responsible for you and your insecurities, it doesn't matter who it is. I'm not going to do it. So I was like, let me just stop you right there.
Yeah, because that notion, because again, if you think about how crazy that is, so because I'm not sitting here like this, waiting to come to handle your business, and I'm the person you need to do business with, that's going to stop you from doing business. Well, then you obviously clearly don't have no business to be done, or it certainly can't be that important, right? But I am not responsible for what goes on in your head. First of all, I'm sure whoever that was, Tony, you had no idea what they were thinking until they said so. It never occurred to you that, oh, well, she's going to feel uncomfortable to do business with me, so I need to smile when this person comes around so that she'll feel comfortable to do business.
No. I can actually see it coming.
Well, that's because you've got a lot of experience with it at this point.
But at 57, I really don't give a shit. I don't.
Nor should you.
No, I mean, because I've been trying to be nice for 30, 40 years, and this is just who I am. It's not about me being nice or not. I can do business with you and not care anything about you. It's just business, and I don't care. Or, I'm getting the mantra, yeah, you ain't got no poker face. And I just tell them, I'm not here to play poker.
I'm working.
I don't need to have a poker face, but no, I can actually see it coming. But
through the years though, right? Yeah, because see, we got the same issue, right? People tell me, but nah, I always been approachable. That's not the issue. You know what I'm saying? That's not the issue at all. And it doesn't matter what I do with my face. It doesn't matter what tone I use, whether I speak softly or whether I speak loudly or aggressively or whatever. It doesn't matter. You're going to feel the same way. And I am not responsible for how you feel about how I carry myself. Again, like you said, if there's business to be done, then let's do the business. If it's a personal relationship, what is the deal? What are we doing in this relationship? Where are we? We got an issue. Let's address the issue. But what we're not going to do is act like I'm responsible for my feelings and your feelings and everything else about how I conduct myself.
You're not going to gaslight me.
Ha.
Ha 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 ha. Big time. That's the key, ain't it? Ain't it, Ms. Di? That's the key.
Yes.
Because what often happens is people who have a tendency to try to make other people responsible for their lives and what happened to them, they're actually quite self-absorbed, and they're never responsible for anything.
Never.
Somebody's always doing something to them. But when this book says still blaming someone or pointing a finger at other people for their incarceration, well, there are a lot of people who are pointing the finger at other people for the condition of their lives, the condition of their emotions, the condition of how they live, the condition of what kind of work they're willing to get into. Somebody told me when I was a kid I wasn't going to be good at this, and so I didn't do it no more. And that was my teacher in the 5th grade. What? But you're still holding on to that. Why? Because underneath of it all, actually, I'm more afraid to actually try.
Right.
And me blaming them gives me an excuse not to try.
Not to do nothing.
Not to do nothing.
Not to do nothing.
And in reality, again, that's just an excuse to be mediocre. Quite frankly, I don't want to succeed. I'm afraid of success. I don't want the responsibility of success. Because let me tell you something. It is hard work at the top. It's a lot more people. Everybody want to be the boss till it's time to have to make boss decisions. Everybody want to be the boss till it's time to have to make them boss payments. Everybody want to be the boss until something come up that ain't good. Now don't nobody want to be the boss. Everybody, well, you can have that. Yeah, I guess so. But for me, my experience has been being the boss. The only thing that did was meant I had more responsibility than everybody else. It wasn't greater. It just meant more responsibility. more work for me to do, more things for me to consider, more people to have to deal with their issues and making sure that they're and consider a whole lot of things. What you got, James?
I was about to say the same thing my greedy self. What is that? Is that
You know
tissue?
we like to eat, James. What you got? Oh, you know what?
What is it?
That's called illegal.
Illegal.
Huh? Is that ice cream?
Yogurt, frozen yogurt.
I hope
Awesome.
I hope your whole head hurt.
That's
Why?
not nice. That's not nice, Di.
Yes, it is.
Take that back. Don't say that.
No.
No.
You said being responsibility, right? Make sure I'm being responsible for my actions, correct?
Yes.
Nobody else eating
Well,
no
then
yogurt.
why you wish my whole head hurt?
Okay, because ain't nobody else eating no yogurt but you. I hope
That's
your whole
transparent. That's
Huh?
transparent.
I'm telling you how I feel about it.
Yeah, but you shouldn't wish anything upon somebody else. That's very negative.
Hope your whole head hurt.
And you know she greedy, James. You know she greedy.
Hey James, you need to knock it off with all that hate.
Because you can't.
Don't be
She
coming
can't have
in
your
with that
food.
hate,
Huh?
cause he got some yogurt and you ain't got no yogurt. Don't be spewing that hate on here.
That's straight
It's
on
free to
haterade.
hear.
Look, she
That's that haterade.
into the atmosphere. Look,
Yeah, that's
look,
that
but she
haterade.
taking responsibility for it though, ain't she?
That's
She
not
definitely
Telling you
is.
straight up, I'm
Yes.
hating. Ain't nobody
Yes.
eat yogurt, so she. Well, I'm just saying. I'm just
Look,
saying. We do
look,
not
look,
condone
look.
that kind of behavior. Okay.
Look. You said it out in the open. You said I'm gonna mute you because you're going in the store. I
You
said,
out.
yeah.
You
And
out.
we saw the wallet and everything. I was just trying to figure out if I could have seen that pin on that thing when you was paying. That was the only thing I was a little concerned that I didn't get to see, so I could steal your wallet and then I'd be access to your money. But since I couldn't see that, I figured, oh well. You know, I see that wallet. You got a black wallet, don't you? You got a black wallet, don't
brown.
Oh.
you? See?
My wallet brown.
That's
This is
black.
dark
That thing
color.
showed up black on camera. I could tell
Well,
you that.
you had CSI on you, man.
I
It was on
see.
you.
We was looking, Terrell. I was looking. I want to say, oh, I see the card. Oh, I see the card come out. Now I see him swiping the card. Oh, he's putting that pin, but he didn't put the camera where I could see that though.
Was that Chase Bank?
Huh?
Was that Chase Bank?
I don't know. Bank
Nope.
of America.
Oh, okay.
Nope. So anyway, hi, Miss Cheryl. I see Miss Berta checked on here. I'm happy about that. She moving around though. She busy. She out of town. She's smart. She out of town. But
she out of town.
I wanted to add something based on what you said prior to the ice cream gate, or yogurt gate. I sometimes things come and I hold on to them, and this says, it occurred to me that many people are actually afraid to heal because their entire identity is centered around the trauma they've experienced. They have no idea who they are outside of that trauma, and that unknown can be very terrifying.
And I have reposted that. I saw that, and it's so true. It's so true that people make that their identity,
right?
And then even if it's not per se what they want, it's what's familiar to them,
right?
But I also know that it becomes at some point
a crutch.
Like, but it's you know, if a person comes to you and they say, "I'm so cute, ain't I?" And every time you see them, they want to tell you how cute you are. You think, "Oh, they conceited. That's unattractive." Well, this is that in reverse, but it's the same principle.
Right.
Oh, I'm so wounded. Oh, I'm so hurt.
Right.
Oh my gosh, I'm so traumatized. I need your help. Okay, because look, listen, a lot of people get a lot of attention by being a victim. They get a lot of attention, or if you say to me, well, let's use Miss Cheryl as an example. Say to Miss Cheryl, well, I love them shoes, because you know Miss Cheryl got some kick-ass shoes, y'all, right?
Oh, do.
Oh.
And then Cheryl, now she knows she buy them kick-ass shoes because they all that, right? And then you go, you say, ooh, they some kick-ass shoes, and Cheryl go, oh, these old things, they're old. Okay, that's to say, keep on complimenting me. Tell me more about the shoes. But people think that, oh no, this old thing, oh, no, it's the same. Feed me, feed my ego, feed my narcissism more. It just looks different.
Yes.
But it's the
Yeah,
same
I have
principle.
told you for your information. Well, I already submitted it.
It's the same principle in reverse. It's just that some people do it straight out like that, and then some people use, but they're both on either ends of the spectrum, where I am receiving attention by and feeding my ego by playing the victim and being the one that's always on the receiving end of pain and trauma and all of that, when in reality nobody's responsible. Listen, I saw something the other day too, this said, I think it was yesterday, and it said, it was a picture of like a animation of a lady, beautiful lady, looking in the mirror, and in the mirror there was this little girl that looked like her, but she was crying, and you could see the tears coming down her eyes. But the caption said, you're not responsible for something about your hurt wasn't your fault, but it is your responsibility to heal.
Key.
You're not responsible for what somebody did to you, but your healing and your growing and your moving on process, that you are responsible for.
Yeah.
We can't put that off on anybody else. So what we focus on is what we're going to bring more of to us. And again, some people got a lot of attention in their lives by being a victim and their identity because it was beneficial for them. It benefited them. Dr. Phil always had this saying, so what's your payoff with the behavior? Anything you continue to do over and over again, what's the payoff you getting out of it? Even if it's like this one lady, she talked about, I was on a session with her with a preacher, her pastor, and she was saying that she was in an abusive relationship and he was trying to help her to break free from the relationship, and she was saying to him that she realized that she became addicted to the highs and lows, the explosive highs and lows of the abusive relationship. And he started trying to tell her, no, she wasn't. And I'm like, oh, I believe that's true, because it's a rush. The rush, whether it's a negative rush or a positive rush, she was addicted to the rush of the abusive relationship. And she had identified it. And the way for her to fix that was to acknowledge it to herself. So my thing was, no, don't tell her that's not, no, yeah, she is. When she's telling you she realized that, because she was looking forward to it. As much as I'm sure she wasn't looking forward to being socked upside her head or dragged across the room by her hair or whatever he did to her, what she was addicted to was, okay, now that happened, so now we're going to make up. Now he's going to be sorry. And now we're going to have makeup sex. And then everything's going to be fine. We'll have that honeymoon period for however long that lasts. And then I got to live on eggshells as to when the next time is that he going to abuse me and what's going to set him off.
That sounds like 50 Shades of Grey there.
Huh?
Yeah. That sounds like 50 Shades of Grey. That 50 Shades of Grey stuff with a woman getting punished and all that and sexually tortured and all that shit.
I've heard of the movie, but I never watched it. I've heard of it, but I never watched it, and that's probably why, though, Lionel, because I ain't into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, some people get turned on by that type of stuff, and it's like just like you talking about the girl, the lady with the shoes, talking about some old things. To me, it go both ways. It might be old to her. She might just be speaking her truth, like, oh, these old shoes, I got some bad shoes up in these is old, right? So, I wouldn't really judge a person being flamboyant or looking for empathy or sympathy because they say what's on their mind. I had to really look at that person, look what they're really saying, or see if that person's character really like that. Now, when it comes to responsibility, I look at myself by putting myself in certain situations. I look at myself as choosing my friend or going someplace. And as far as like my crime, at first I was blaming the whole world. I was blaming God for my crime. But once I start, looking at myself, taking responsibility and got rid of that low self-esteem and stuff like that, I realized I was sick. I had issues I need to deal with. And so this is why I love groups so much, because I look within now myself. I don't look outside towards other people. I'm working on me. And so that helped me to deal with my responsibilities, issues I might have. I still got issues I'm dealing with, because it's like I got that evil genie in the bottle, like Die got. She got that evil genie bottle. You rub that bottle, that evil genie gonna come out and the destruction gonna hit. And so I learned how to keep that
For
genie
real?
in the bottle.
But he is right though, because you do keep it in the bottle. You do have it contained. You do.
You're a sweet person, though. You
Oh,
sweet.
You do
You're a
have it in
sweet
the bottle.
person.
Look, and you
When
will
somebody
unleash
rub
it.
you the wrong way,
the genie
yeah,
in the
they rub you the
bottle.
wrong way. All hell
Die.
break loose.
Look at James. Look at James, y'all. Look at James, y'all. Please look at James.
You rub it? Okay. All right. It don't take too much to put her out. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Look. Untwist your face. Untwist your face. Because you know, and I know,
Okay.
we have had many conversations,
Yes, sir.
and we done talked about that genie in the bottle. Because sometimes that genie in the bottle is excuse my language, but it's a motherfucker.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, right?
And look, Lida just called it out. She
Thank
got
you.
that genie in the bottle. And look, she all right till you mess with her. Don't start playing with the top and rubbing on it. Don't start it, pushing it. Don't push it because she'll be close to the edge. Look.
I got gas in my car, James.
While I'm driving around on the podcast.
So she can't find you, James?
Yep.
I got gas in my car.
She knows she got gas. She'll find you.
I just put gas in the van, so I'm moving.
So, hello, Miss Roberta. So, I just want you to know what we're talking about tonight. I know it may not seem like it since you've been on, but we're really talking about responsibility. Not only responsibility as a person coming home from incarceration, but also responsibility in our relationships, okay? So that's the conversation. I know it may not feel like it right now because they got talking about genies and rubbing the ice cream cup and all this kind of stuff, but we really did have a topic tonight, and we are still on it because, as Mr. Bradley just said, once he began to take responsibility, see what he was doing, once he stopped blaming everybody, he said he had even blamed God for why he was incarcerated. Then he realized, wait a minute, no, that was me. I did some things. And what he did was he accepted responsibility for his own behavior. And that's when the growth started to happen. That's when he was able to begin to heal. I can tell you, that was the thing that caused the most healing of anything in my life, was for me to own the fact that I was the reason I was in so much pain. I had to accept the fact. Oh, look at Miss Bernie getting all cute with her little frame. Ooh,
okay,
hold up. You gotta teach me how to do that, Miss Bernie. See, but you know what, she's selfish because she don't teach me. I asked her to show me how to oh, look at her. I asked her to show me how to have that picture. I don't know how to do that. She ain't showed me that yet, but she just figured out how to put a frame around her little thing. Okay, let's see how you going. I see what's happening with you. I see. Roberta say I ain't responsible for your damn frame.
I didn't mean to do this. I apologize. I was trying to figure something out in the background.
But that's the same thing. That's how you found out about how to put that picture thing up, right? Hi, Miss Monica. Hi. We got Monica back a second week. Y'all didn't run her off last week. She's still here.
Okay. Where's Pike?
You know what? He can't because I didn't go pick him up. So if I don't go, if he, he's just older, and if I don't go pick him up, and I didn't feel like doing all that because the only person who I think could have really actually been in person was James, and it was like, okay, so I'm just gonna do it from my house. It saves me almost an hour when I do it from home. So
For real, Roberta?
yeah, and that allowed me to get more work and stuff done. But I'm gonna go get him next week so that because next week is before Thanksgiving, and we'll have a in-person session next week. But I knew people were all over the place, and I was like, no sense in me forcing myself. And I did get a lot done in that extra hour too.
Oh.
So yeah, but he did call me. I'll tell him that you asked about him. And then he'll be here next week, and hopefully you will as well. So we're talking.
I'm listening. I'm across the way listening.
All right, sweetie. Glad you're with us. I'm so glad she's with us, Cheryl.
She said thank you.
Yes. So I think it's good. Like I said, I know for me that me accepting responsibility for myself was the thing that caused me to grow more than anything else. And that's in every area. I can remember when working for my mom, and she had taught me many years when I was working for other people, don't let people take advantage of me in the workplace. And if I feel like I'm being taken advantage of, then it's time for me to go. Well, when I felt like she was taking advantage of me, I gave her a 2-week notice too. And she was like, what? I was like, mm-hmm. And I put the little memo in her chair. And she let me go ahead and resign. But this was the joke, y'all. The joke was on my ass because I went to go work for my brother, and she talked to him. And now I found that not only did I could work for him, but I had to keep working for her too. So the joke was on me. Yeah, but I did still let her know, but you won't be disrespecting me and taking advantage of me financially or any other way. But what I didn't know at the time, honestly, was that she was sick with leukemia and she didn't tell nobody. So what she was doing when she told me, because this was always the thing, I'll raise your first year's salary, you got to raise it after that. So I would go raise the money because I needed a raise. And then she would tell me it happened twice. And she told me, oh, no, I can't give you no raise. I got all these other people. I got to keep their salaries going. Okay, well, why don't they have to go raise no money? Why am I the only one raising money for my salary? And after she did it the second time, I was like, oh, no, player, here you go. Me and you, we done. Here, this is how we're going to do this right here. Because you're the one who taught me not to let an employer take advantage of me. And it didn't matter that she was the employer. Okay, it ain't gonna happen, not on my watch, because you taught me better than that. So but that's where I got that from, and I promise you, even in the workplace, I don't let people take advantage of me. Let's see what else Mr. Tillman says about. Here's a good one that people often use. I'm just a product of my environment, and I had no other choice. Is that the fastest way to not take responsibility for participating in something?
The quickest way.
Okay. Oh, I'm just a product of my environment. Not that environment doesn't matter, because it does. And it can have an effect.
But it's still up to you.
We're all products of our environment.
Yeah, exactly. So
each and every one of us is.
Exactly. And so that doesn't mean, but guess what? And you know what? You're the perfect example of this the point I want to make, Tony, because guess what? You remember telling us on more than one occasion that in your family, there was a period that all of your mom and her sibling were in and out of jail. Everybody was in and out.
There was a period where I was the only person over 18 that had never been arrested or incarcerated.
Okay, in her family, and she got 26 cousins, y'all.
Exactly.
So my point being is that you're product of that same environment that all of your relatives are a part of, but you still never went to prison. And so there is a point where you get to choose. You get to make choices, and not that you've never done anything that could have got you caught up in something. It's just the fact that it didn't happen. And again, we're all a product of our environment. Okay, so now that we got past that, so now what else did you do? Or what other choices did you make?
Right.
Mr. Tillman, chime in, sweetie, because you wrote all this stuff. Talk to the people, tell them what you was thinking. Mr. Tillman?
You gotta unmute him. Unmute.
Can you hear me? Terrell?
Unmute yourself.
Okay, there you go. So I was saying that you wrote all this stuff. So tell us what you think about it. We were talking about when you wrote about being a product of an environment and all the different things and how people, blame other people and they don't take responsibility for their incarceration.
Well, what I was meaning is the fact that, hold on. All right. Okay. As far as that goes, it's like people don't take responsibility.
What happened?
Yeah, that place.
No,
Remember,
because I'm here soon. Okay, so basically, because I'm somewhere to listen to a webinar, I don't want to disturb him. So basically, people don't take responsibilities for a lot of dudes come out of prison. They go in there with the mindset somebody told them, and this, that, and the other, whatever. Even when they get past that, you still have to come home and be accountable for your wrongdoing. You know what I mean? Certain things you might can't change, and that's okay. But you still got to move on. And being an adult out here is a big responsibility for anybody, let alone somebody coming home from jail. So if you're still blaming other people for where you're at in the present, you're behind. And you're not accepting responsibilities that you have to move on, regardless of what happened to you. I don't care if you got raped. I don't care if somebody stole from whoever. I don't care if somebody did you bad when you was out. It's up to you when you see them again, what you're gonna do. But you have to get past. You have to keep going. After that incident happened to you, you have to keep going. So you have to understand that happened, but now, right now, all the responsibilities I have now to get myself together, it's all on me. It ain't on nobody else. Everybody, the trauma that I've been through, it's not even applicable to what I need to do right now, because I got to try to heal from that if I'm acknowledging that it exists. But first and foremost, I have to be responsible. Like I say, get myself together, ID, the bare necessities. You know what I'm saying? Where am I live? It's a lot with that. And to a lot of people in jail, it's like, okay, I'm going home, but some people really don't really know where they're going or don't have nowhere to go. So when they get out here in these Francisco homes and these places like that, they still like messed up in the head. So
they're still incarcerated in their minds.
You know what I'm saying? So, and responsibility ain't hit them yet, because it's just the sense of being free ain't even hit them yet. So the responsibility ain't even hit them yet. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's like you have to grow into it. But if your somebody's mindset is still on what happened to me, and that's why I'm going through what I'm doing now, I'm blaming, I'm mad, you might well stay up in the joint.
It's so true, because when you were talking, one of the things
you ain't doing nothing but being bad karma. You just being bad energy out here. You're not doing nothing to help nothing, and you definitely not helping yourself. And that's first and foremost. You got to help yourself. So you got to own up to what's happening and move forward, and be responsible for every step you take, all the relationships that you build, business, sexual, casual, intimate, whatever. You have to take that responsibility on and man up, woman up, whatever it is. And live with the results, because you have to make those choices.
Yeah, because when you were talking, it reminded me of I say this often about people suffering the consequences of their actions, right? Well, some people say, well, I was willing to accept the consequences, but you couldn't anticipate, even if you anticipated that you might go to prison and spend time in prison for your behavior. What you couldn't anticipate was the consequences for your family members and those people that loved you. You couldn't anticipate that even after you did your time, I see your hand, Cheryl, and I'll come right to you, that even after you did your time, that people would still be holding it against you and legally discriminating against you, and how that would affect you moving forward. It also reminded me of how when you talked about it, if you're still in that blaming stage, what it's going to do is it's going to cause you to be angry and bitter. And when you're focusing on being angry and bitter, you can't move forward. It stifles everything. Yes. Okay. So the man that raped me, right? If I spent all of my time, if I continued year in and year out to focus on the trauma of him raping me, that's where I would still be stuck, because it was horrendous, it was horrible, it was heart-wrenching, it was a whole lot of things. But if I want a healthy life, I got to move on from that. What do I need to learn? How did I get in that position? What happened, and what do I do to try to prevent that in the future? And to also recognize that that's not something that's going to happen every day too. When traumatic things happen, let's say, for example, a car accident. People, I know I have a phobia because I've been in car accidents, and there's some kind of phobia, but guess what? My mind instantly goes to a particular place. But I'm learning year in and year out how to overcome that phobia. I still have to drive. I have to go places or whatever, but I just have to learn to focus. But that's what I have to do with my mind. But sure, you wanted to say something. Unmute so that we can hear you.
Okay, so I was like that. I didn't care that I knew I was going to prison. I just never knew I was going for as long as I did. But I used to always say, oh, that's all right, because they're going to take care of my son. If I do 25 years, my son going to be taken care of and stuff. But I didn't think about the trauma part of it or any of that until I got arrested. And he went into foster care. And I tell people he could count to 100, but when he was there for 8 months and came back to LA, he couldn't count to 10 anymore and stuff. And that's why I say to people, I was his entire world, and his whole entire world got pulled away from him. And as a child, he doesn't know how to express that and say, I was telling Tony that not too long ago, he can't say to you, Noreen, where's that lady that I call mommy that loves me and feeds me and hugs me and kisses me every day? And that's what people be like, oh, he gonna be all right. No, he's not gonna be all right, because he doesn't understand the heartbreak he's having right now. Right. And the detrimental part of it. So thank you.
Right. And then because all the things that you did with him and all the ways that you cared for him, you thought, okay, well, whatever I'm doing, I'm prepared to suffer the consequences. And you thought, okay, well, if I go to jail, he's going to be taken care of. Well, physically, he probably was. But emotionally, there was no way for them to replace what you were. There was no way for them to replace that. Nobody.
One of my friends she was my really good friend, and she would pick him up every now and then. And she said, Cheryl, it was some months later, she said, he's happy, but he's not the same happy when you were here. And then after a while, and I was just telling Tony the other day, he ended up where he wouldn't talk. Mm-hmm. He wouldn't talk to adults at all and stuff. So, yeah.
And that was something you could never have anticipated. There's no way you could have known that was going to be a consequence of your behavior or you going to prison. Because it sounded fine. Okay, that's all right. He's going to be all right, though. I'm doing this. And yeah, but no. Because that was justification in your mind. But honestly, it wasn't necessarily true. And now we know that. And you could actually, let a young lady know, no, that's not true. If you got kids, you don't understand the devastation, because now your son is a grown man, but those scars still have to be healed, right? You don't get to determine what he does with those feelings at this point.
Devastation is a beautiful word for this.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Go ahead, James. You wanted to say something?
Yeah. When a world, like, I didn't think about nobody when I committed my crime. I didn't think about my kids. I was in my own addiction, and mine was greed and money. So when I committed my crime, it was about the addiction, feeding addiction. I didn't care who it affected. I didn't think about the ramifications, the ripple effects. I didn't think about none of that, because I really didn't care about nobody but me. I was an addict. My addict may not have been cocaine or this, that, or other. Mine was about money and power, control. And that's all I thought about. I didn't never envision that I would go to jail. Eventually, I was going to get caught, because the things I was doing, I started getting more and more reckless to get my addiction fed.
Yeah, it needed it like any other addiction. Yeah.
Right.
You had to ramp it up. You had to amp up what you were doing. Yeah.
I had to get more and more and more and more, like you feeding that cocaine addiction, the alcohol addiction. You got to get more and more and more and more to get to where you want to be. And my children, when I sit down and talk to them, and they speak their truths, and I listen, I had to understand that part of my aha moments are coming when they talk, because like the brother said, was it Lionel said it earlier, that it took a lot of groups and to be serious about groups, because we go get in groups to get chronos, make it look good for the board to come home. But how many actually take it serious? And I had one group that I was in a SAP program with this brother that was incarcerated with me before at Ironwood, and he became a counselor and came back and worked for the SAC program. And he challenged me, and when he challenged me, I found that aha moment, and that's when I realized that I was excuse my language, but I was fucked up. I was one real screwed up individual, and I really needed help. And like now, even today, coming to this group, someone told me, "Why you still go to that group? You out of the transition. You're not in the transition no more." I said, "Let me explain something to you. Transition wasn't about the building. Transition is about the healing. It's about me. And right now, I need help. And to say that I need help should be a sign for you to understand that I am an adult now. I'm doing what adults supposed to do. We're supposed to stand up and go for that, to say that we need this, we need that help."
And what you did is you took responsibility for yourself and for your healing. You took responsibility for the fact that I realized there's still some things, even though I'm out of that transition home and I don't no longer have the responsibility to be there. I still need to work on me. I see your hand, I still have the responsibility to work on me. Something else that you said earlier that sparked something that I wanted to talk about too, and that's this. In the street life, more often than not, I hear about it, and I know I lived a circumstance where people in street life compartmentalize. They compartmentalize relationships aside from the street life is here, the business, whatever that is. My family's here, my woman or whatever girls I'm dating, whatever series of that might be. That's all. They're all separate. They're all little bitty boxes, right? And they don't always necessarily meet. So when you said when you were committing the crime, you wasn't thinking about your kids, you wasn't thinking about your mama, you wasn't thinking about none of those people, because in that moment you were in that box. You were in that addiction box. You were in, and I'm sure even at that time, you didn't even realize it was addiction. All you knew was it's time to put in this work, it's time to do this business, because that's what and it's going to bring this money. So but it was a compartmentalization in your mind that had you believing that all them things are separate, and they weren't separate. The issue is the one thing that's common in all of them is you, and you bring all those things together. So you're the common denominator, and you're the thing in that situation. You wanted to say something, Di?
I would just sit up here breathing really hard, because the day Shantae got sentenced in 96, I was in that courtroom, and it took a lot out of me that day, because I'm with someone for these 6 years, and now you're going to be gone for almost 8. That was the most devastating day of my life, because I had to go home and tell my kids he's not coming back. We can't go pick him up. And I was just sitting here breathing like, dang, I can remember that day. I can remember being in Torrance Court. I can remember the floor. I can remember everything. And it was just weird, because that feeling's been gone a long time. And when we was talking, it just came up. And I'm like, dang, that, I don't think he ever thought about the devastation it would really have on us. You know what I'm saying? I don't really think he ever thought about that.
He couldn't possibly have, because again, in that street life is I put it in a compartment. This over here don't have nothing to do with this right here in their minds. But the reality is that it does.
Mm-hmm.
It
And I
does.
think,
It does
and I,
have something to do with
yeah,
it.
and I think that's when to be honest, even though I stood by him and did everything, but I really think that's when like you said, the aha was like, this could happen again. I'll never want to feel this again. I never want to feel this ever again. I'm not going to let my kids go through this again. We're not doing this again. And that's when I turned into the beast that I am today, to handle business without no questions asked. I'm really not trying to make all these friendships nowhere. I got to take care of this business because I never want to feel this feeling again.
Yeah, because it felt like something was pulled out from under you.
I stood there and I'm telling you, I couldn't even breathe when they said what they said. I was like, did he just say?
And just imagine had that been life without parole.
I didn't even know what concurrent mean. Girl, I didn't know what was going on. What that mean? What who are we talking to? What concurrent mean? I'm tapping like what that mean, baby? What concurrent mean?
Right.
He was like, just relax. Because I'm hyperventilating because I'm not understanding what's going on here.
Right.
I'm way out here. I ain't never been no court in Torrance. What are we doing here? Yeah, but I knew I never wanted to feel that feeling again. And I think that he never thought about that. And I think to this day, I think I never forgave him for that. And I think that's became the demise between me and him.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that's what it is, to be honest.
And it's interesting that you say that, because that was the beginning of the end.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't what he did. It was the mere fact that he never thought about how it would affect you.
Mm-hmm.
That was really it was the principle underneath of it. Some people would say, well, it's because he went to prison. No, because you did all the prison life stuff. You did all that.
No. Yeah,
but it was the fact that you felt that he never really thought about how it would affect you. But I'm saying to you, and this is one of the things I want everybody that may hear this later to understand, is that is a part of that lifestyle. So if you get with a person who's living a street lifestyle, them putting things in little boxes and not connecting them all together and not thinking about you when they're doing what they're doing that may take them away from you or whatever, realize it doesn't have anything to do with you, but it feels the same. And guess what? It's a consequence that they never understood was a potential part of what they were doing. They never thought about the devastation, as Cheryl calls it, because what he did is he devastated your entire life. Not just yours, but your children. Because now you got kids and everybody's life is turned upside down.
I had 3 little kids at home.
Okay, everybody's life is turned upside down. Why? Because of choices that he made. And so again, and you had to now take on more responsibility than you had previously. Like now it's all on you. Of course, you always had to do your part, but now you're responsible for all of it.
Everything was on me. That's why I'm glad. I tell people I'm glad I had the kind of mom I had. Because if for some reason it seemed like, I don't know, like she was, I don't know, I could say like this lady, she just knew stuff. She knew when to swoop in. She knew when to call. She knew exactly what needed to be done, exactly when it needed to be done. Just like when I didn't know I had that syndrome when you have your baby and all that. I didn't know nothing about none of that either. I wasn't attached to him at first like that because
postpartum.
Okay, I didn't want to have no kids, but I ended up having one. Okay, but I got him. He's here. But I just wasn't, and she swooped right in and did like boom. She was always right there. So I tell you, if you don't have nobody that's right there, like right there, you'll be lost. And I'm glad I had her because I probably would have been lost, super lost in what I thought I really was. In the direction where I needed to go. And she just said, Di, look, this gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough, it's gonna be tough, and I know you're going through something, but I need you. She told me I need you to stay focused and take care of yourself to help me take care of these kids. And we gotta do this together. I was like, all right, so that's what I did.
Tony, you was gonna say something?
Yeah, I think also that the person, it's the devastation, but there's the kindred relationship that you have with that person and how much vulnerability you have given to that person. whether it be the child to the parent, the woman to the man. It's the level of vulnerability that you have entrusted in that person for whatever the relationship is. The higher level of vulnerability, the higher level of devastation. And some of us don't make it back from those relationships. We go on to other relationships, and they can even seemingly be a little worse than that. But it's that particular level of devastation with that person that angers you so much that you it's very hard for you to find your way back.
You said a mouthful right there.
Yeah.
For real. Because the level of vulnerability will equal the level of devastation. It's going to really affect if the lady down the street tells me, "You stink, Noreen." Okay. If the man I'm laying next to in the bed tell me, "You stink, Noreen," that's a whole nother thing, right? It's just a different level. It's because he vulnerable enough to be right here in my world and whatever. And that has a different level of effect on me because I've allowed myself to be vulnerable with that person and to expose a part of me, and I've allowed them in my life. And
all in your face.
Now when they say it, that, and so just thinking about that, for example, with Cheryl used to spend all that time with her son when he was little, and she taught him to count, and she did all of these things. There was a love she gave him. There was a sense of self that she gave him. And so the devastation for him was much greater. Why? Because of how much she meant to him in his life, how many things she represented. And you mentioned something else about it too, and that's when you hear people like when they have parents, they have estranged parents and stuff, and it's like, I know with my son, and because his dad was in and out of his life like that, he says, "I don't trust people." What it is they don't trust to allow themselves to be that vulnerable again.
Yeah, like with me, my mom, she went to jail. So her time was short and it was limited. Yeah, I would be mad, but I'd get over it. Okay, whatever. I get over it. But in stepping through our lives, my brother was killed. And within a year of my brother's death, my mom and all 5 of her brothers were all incarcerated in that 12-month time. The biggest de facto for me was everybody came home but my mother. When after my brother was killed, it was the first time my mother went to prison. And she was gone my entire high school. But in that period, those men who were my heroes, who were my saviors, who were my guardians, who always looked after me when I was younger, they all, one after the other, began to come home, one after the other. And it was like, when are you coming home?
Yeah.
And then she, she wrote me and she said, here's my date. I'm coming home with good behavior. I calculated it to be this. And I wrote her the ugliest letter back. If you don't make it to my graduation, I'll never speak to you again. But it was the level of devastation coupled with the level of, what I had, the vulnerability. You have a level of vulnerability with your parents just by being their child.
Yep.
You have a level as a spouse, as a partner. You have a higher level of vulnerability than you have. Like you said, if my neighbor came over here and said you stink, I'd be like, okay, well, take your ass home. But if my man said you stink, it's like, wait a minute, what? It's like, oh, let me go take a shower. Let me shower twice a day, 3 times a day. I'm at work, you're taking a bird bath, all of those things, because it is that level of vulnerability that can just flip on its, behind and become the level of devastation.
Absolutely. That's just so powerful. I'm sure, Tony, that's something that I'll take with me for life, is understanding that. And I'll share that with other people, because
Yeah.
we don't realize the closer we allow someone to get to our heart, the more ability they have to affect and devastate our lives. And that is where, and I'm sure that that's what people mean when they say, I don't trust people. But that's really what they don't trust, is that I don't trust that if I get hurt like I did when my dad wasn't there, I'm not going to make it. Right. And that's a perfect way to say that, especially because when it's DNA, when it's parent, it's your source, whether you like it or not, that's as deep as it gets, because they're a part of who you are. And what you lose when they're not there, or you don't get to understand, it matters. I'm thinking again about Kerry Washington finding out that her parents had in vitro fertilization. Even though her dad was there and all that, she knew something. She said she always felt like there was something they were keeping from her. There was something that they knew that she didn't know, because biologically that was not her father. And so so there was something in her that said, it made her go, right? But that's because it wasn't her DNA. And she could feel that. Even though this man loved on her, provided for her, and all of those things, it didn't take away from the fact that her spirit knew and couldn't rest with the fact that wasn't, and she didn't know until she was grown. So I think it's a again, when you come home from incarceration, there are going to be a lot of responsibilities and things that we have to face, including unintended consequences of our actions and the crimes that were committed, unintended relationship challenges. And when we have relationships, yes, the more close those relationships become, we're going to have responsibilities to learn how to be in those relationships, and when they go bad, how to move on from it. Because like we said, we talk about the baggage that people bring from previous relationships. We're responsible to move on from that baggage. Like, I go on vacation. I know I'm not the only one that does this. I go on vacation. It takes me a month to unpack my suitcase when I get back. Wear that stuff out that suitcase, or if I need the toiletries or something, okay, they come out first because I always need them, right? And I'll get them out, but the rest of them clothes and them shoes and stuff, I might wear them. Then when I wear them, I put it. Okay, well, in a relationship, it's the same thing. Unpack that suitcase, unpack that baggage, get it all out. Put your stuff away, put your dirty clothes away, and all of that, so that you could be free and be healthy in the next relationship. And that's our responsibility. That is not anybody else's. And the only way we're going to get to that, and to get to that healing place, is for us to take responsibility for our heart and what we feel. Okay? Oh, Miss Cheryl. Ain't nobody reading that chat right now, Cheryl. Ain't nobody reading that chat. And least of all him. But wait, let me just tell you, James, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so let me tell you this. She just clowned you talking about wake up, right? And let me tell you
But but the funny thing was, I wasn't
asleep.
asleep.
You was resting your eyes. I know, but look, let me just say this.
No, my eyes wasn't even closed.
I wrote that line.
Down.
I wrote that line as a little girl, James, and I'm older than you. Look.
No, I was listening to and internalizing what you were saying.
Yeah, yada yada. But guess what? He recovered well, didn't he, Cheryl? But look, this is the thing.
It resonated with me because when Diane was speaking about court, and when you was just speaking about the internalization, how devastating, and what Tony was talking about also, I never understood my mother. I didn't understand why my mother. I didn't call my mother when I went to jail. One of my homeboys came and told my mother I was arrested. I never called my mother because I never wanted to hurt my mother to let her know that the son that she raised was actually doing the things he was doing. And I knew it was devastating. I knew it would kill her.
You thought it would?
Well, she always just said when I was little, don't ever go to jail because it would hurt mommy. Because my uncles was in and out of jail, my cousins in and out of jail. Like when I went to jail, it was no mystery. It was seven. I had 7 cousins in prison along with me, and we all had life. We all got to see each other by passing through prisons. But when, like Di said, what does concurrent mean? My mother and one of my buddies had a limousine service, and he made sure my mother made it to every court appearance in a limo. My mother hired an attorney to sit next to her to explain to her what was going on in this court case, because I wouldn't explain to her what was going on. I knew I was going away for a long time. I didn't think about the devastation, like I said, when I was doing it. But then to turn around and walk in that courtroom and look at my mother, and she's trying to smile, but the smiles had tears in them. That was devastating. So when I was listening to Tony and how she wrote that letter to her mother about graduation, and to hear you and the devastation of the trauma that you went through and how you compartmentalize, like you said, compartmentalize everything. When I put my head down, I don't know if y'all noticed, but I was wiping my eyes a little earlier. It was another moment for me to understand the level
The pain
of pain that I caused for my mother. That I never
not
wanted
just
to
her,
see.
and not just her either, right? Because again, those are unintended consequences, and you certainly never intended it, right? And thankfully, you know what it is, and I'm just glad that you got to be here and be free before she passed. Show your hand.
Go ahead, Cheryl, baby.
Hold on.
Okay, well, we can hear you now. We can hear you.
Can
No,
you
Yes.
unmuted me? Oh, I was trying to unmute. So listen. So when he said that about that, so my mother came to my court in Kentucky. My mother was already up in age, and my mother was little, and she had that little knit hat on, little to the side, and she was little in the federal court building. She had no understanding of what was going on. None. No understanding of them kilos sitting up there. She didn't know what that meant. Nothing. And I just wanted to protect her. So hearing James say, you still want to protect them. When they brought me out to court, I saw her because it had started to snow. She was in the doorway and they were bringing me out, and it was 7 of them with rifles around me in a circle, putting me in the van. And I just was like so glad that she wasn't standing outside to see that part of it. I was so happy because it's a horrible experience for your mom to see you like that, to see you shackled, to see you locked up even, and you're not handcuffed in the court. So it was all right for her to sit there and see me and stuff, but that after court, you don't want that. It's even, we were visiting in Dublin one time, and they said everybody that's getting stripped out, get in line. So one of the girls' mother said, they strip you? And she said, yeah, she said, I'm not coming back to see you then, because I don't want them doing that to you. Yeah.
And that's the kind of stuff that goes on. And so one of the reasons I'm glad we're having this, and I hope that there's somebody who may get to listen to this before they commit the next crime or before they do the next thing, that can realize that there are consequences beyond that one ripple where you drop the rock. that's one thing. But them ripples 3 or 4 layers out that you don't think about can have lifelong effects for not just you, but those people that are attached to you. So I want to go around and I'm going to start with you, Lionel, give you last comments and thoughts about the conversation tonight.
Well, my thing is your environment could be you could be a victim of your environment because of the trauma. Like Cheryl was saying, the trauma, people go through different traumas. Some people don't pull out of the trauma. You know, it really, just fucks them up in the head where they don't know how to pull out. Some people can, better themselves. But, like I say, sometimes you are a victim of your community and sometimes you're not. Depends on the person's mind state. They can pull out that trauma. Some trauma is worse than others. Yeah, thank you.
James?
This was very enlightening for me today. It was another aha moment in my life that I have to go to my higher power and seek forgiveness for. We always say, forgive me for everything that I know and the things I know not. And everything is revealed as a Muslim. Everything is revealed in its time. It says steps, stages, and degrees as a Muslim. And everything has its time and its moments where it's revealed to us what we need to know and how we need to know it, how we need to understand it, and to be released and healed from it. Because he is who he is, and he knows the time is great for us when we can handle it.
Yeah, when you can receive it. Yeah.
And I receive it tonight in a way that I don't think I could have handled it any other time or any other way. So thank you guys for the blessing you have bestowed upon me this evening.
Wonderful. Thank you for your participation, and thank you for your transparency and vulnerability to even open up that kind of discussion, because in order to heal, you gotta be willing to let those things go. So thank you for that. Ms. Di.
I enjoyed the conversation. Once again, it just got, like I said, it was an aha moment, and I just had to let it off my chest. And it was a good conversation. Good beat, everybody.
Thank
you.
You
had an aha moment? What?
He trying to press. He trying to rub with a baby bottle. He trying to rub the bottle. Don't do it, Di. Don't do it, Mr. Tillman. Any last comments on the conversation tonight?
I don't know.
Wait, and then the funny thing is, he laughing out loud. He really chuckling like he get a kick out of it. He get a kick out of messing with you, Di. Don't worry about it.
You know what? That's a classic. I'm glad this stuff is recorded because you can't make this stuff up. The genie in the bottle.
Wait, but why is it? Hey, why is our bottle though an ice cream cup though? But why is our bottle in our ice cream cup?
Why mine have to be yogurt?
Hey, Brother Bradley, you came up with that. That the genie in the bottle. You did that. Okay. But like I said, on some real stuff, I'm just blessed to continue to be able to be on this platform, surround myself around like-minded people who are continuously in the process of healing themselves and bettering themselves every day through the rigors of the world that we live in and the sickness and all this stuff that we're going through out here. So I am just blessed to be a part of Free to Heal in this platform and sharing my book and my experiences and learning as well. It's almost been a year, huh? For me,
It's been over a year, yeah.
Been over a year, huh? Yeah. Time.
And I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here.
So, and I'm just grateful, and I'm just gonna continue to embrace the responsibility that I have, and I don't do no finger pointing, no complaining, because I'm just blessed. Every day is a blessing to have opportunity to do anything and be free. You know what I'm saying? So as long as you're free in the mind and physical, you can achieve anything. And, the things that you accumulate, that's your responsibility. So, hey, handle your business. Take care of the business, and the business will take care of you. That's one of my mottos.
Word. Thank you, Miss Ward. Final comments.
I think this is something that should be revisited because the depth of the trauma runs deep. It has many, many layers, like an onion, or like something that layers that you can't pull. Onion layers come off rather easy, but sometimes you get stuck on one of these,
A
and
little
then
hard,
you,
gotta tug a little harder, huh?
yeah, you hear the things, and like James is hearing things, and I'm hearing things that you don't think of. It's just like I said, when Di first started coming, I understood about the spouse because I never thought of the spouse because I don't have one.
Right.
And when she made me have a whole nother perception, I was just telling Roberta the other day that when I did hospice in Carswell, then a whole nother perspective came to me that I could be in prison dying. Because yeah, so now here I am 10 years home, and I'm hearing maybe it's a bit more harm I did to my mom than I thought, and maybe it's a bit more that I did with my son, and I already know that he needs the therapy and stuff, but I'm listening, and it's more than what I thought it was, because I thought it was going to really be a piece of cake because the money was there.
And you know what? That's so powerful. And what I would ask you to do is, as things come to you, please, we've had some of the best sessions. Hey, okay, we've had some of the best sessions ever when Di will call me and say, hey, I got a topic I want to discuss. Or when Roberta brought up the quote that day. So I'm telling you guys that these groups become the best sessions when you guys are leading the concept, the thought, the discussion. So the notes that you have, if you want to share them with me, that would be great. Then I can formulate a way to bring those topics. Because again, this is for the group, is not just for me, even though I learn and heal my old wounds and things as much as you guys do. And I'm grateful for it. But I definitely am proud anytime that something that I'm doing or participating in can lead James to have a revelation like that, and for you to have them, and for Di to have them, because those are wounds that we didn't even know were still there that needed to be healed. Right? They're things that weren't even on the surface. They was underneath that scab that we thought was there, and but it's still raw up under there. So this gives us an opportunity to face it as what it is, and to understand, and then to expand it so that not only for us, but I will tell you that these kinds of revelations and things are not for your benefit. They're for the benefit of the people that you're going to help moving forward. Okay. All of the pain I've been through has been for me to help the people that I'm able to help today. So I'm grateful for that. Miss Tony, your final comments. Thank you so much for all your input in this discussion tonight too.
The past couple of weeks or so, I've just having some thoughts. Having the book session with my mom. My daughter was there, and so we kind of got her to talk a little bit from her perspective. And I want to say, when you're feeling broken, the pieces aren't there together. Understand that broken crayons still color. And it was a phrase that came to me. And it's like, you go to the crayon box and you always want to go get those brand new crayons. And if you have to think about settling for picking up a crayon, whether it had the wrapper on it, whether it was snapped in half, it's still colored. And so, that's my thing. Broken crayons still colored. Whatever we have that's broken, we still moving. We're still pushing through. And I appreciate all of the perspectives, because I too learn from everyone and the things that they share. I want to say tomorrow, I want everybody to be safe. LA is going to possibly get wet. And so it starts the raining here, and just be careful and careful on that road.
Thank you. Yeah, so I travel tomorrow to Sacramento for my last group in Folsom. This is week 8. It went by really, really fast. So you guys keep me in prayer, because I will be traveling, and I know they're saying 50% chance of rain. So hopefully I can get home safely before before it gets too bad. But I want to thank all of you, like, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, because just having you guys be willing to be open and share gives me hope that maybe somebody will hear what we're sharing and they will learn something, and we will cause them to inflict a little less pain on the people in their lives. And how do we do that? By all taking responsibility for our behavior. And so I thank you guys, and we'll see you next week here on Free to Heal. Check us out on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, any platforms. We see you guys next week.
Love you later.
All right.